What is up, guys? The Strong Boys 19 here. This is going to be a different album review, and I know I did say many times that I stopped reviewing new albums for each year since 2016, but a lot of people were talking about this new released album from a band that I am going to talk about for the first time in close to a decade. And the last time that I talked about this band was when I did a review on one of their albums in 2012. And I know I've seen many people's thoughts and reviews on this record that I thought, why not give this band another go and share my experience with this album. And I'm going to be talking about the new Green Day album entitled Father of All. And before you say it, yes, I know the full title. Long time, almost 35-year running California-based pop-punk band Green Day are back with a new album since 2016's Revolution Radio. Hear me out on my background. When I was really young, before I was a teenager, I was immensely obsessed with Green Day. I discovered the band from the 2000s, pretty much when American Idiot came out, and seen music videos of American Idiot to Holiday, etc., to many videos from the 90s output of their albums, of Dookie, Insomniac, and Nimrod. For me, I still do love the 90s Green Day, and I would say that Dookie and my favourite, the hugely underrated Insomniac, to be Green Day's best albums. They were one of the highly earliest, very first few favourite bands that I had loved back in the day. But for me, after the early 2000s output, after the release of 21st Century Breakdown in 2009, the band had really lost my interaction and connection from them entirely. And now with my musical taste totally changing and expanding with many different bands to genres and solo artists from any kind of music, I decided to revisit this band with this new album. I'm not going to beat around the bush, guys. This is going to be my personal response and thoughts on this record. This is it. This album is, in my honest opinion, the worst Green Day album imaginable. This is the shortest album the band had released to date, 26 minutes, 10 tracks. I totally respect and understand why Green Day wanted to make an album like this. And as with Billy Joe saying that the album is the new soul, Motown, glam, and manic anthemic, I feel that Father of All is one of these albums that tries too hard to have some properly executed sort of experimentalism that they wanted to do on this record, that I really don't connect with it on every single aspect. I have no problem with anybody that loves this album and no beef with what Green Day wanted to do. There is so many horrible things with this album. Not only that we get to see the music video on the opening track, Father of All, which is a very, very different vibe for what Green Day used to do, and it's something really unexpected, but the rest of the album, involving the 3 other singles of Fire, Ready, Aim, Oh Yeah, and Meet Me on the Roof, don't flow with me whatsoever. The instrumentation to this album sounds forced and uninventive to some of the later tracks that have some of the lazy, lackluster approaches the band had ever done in a long time. Lyrics that I think are some of Billy Joe's worst, and I know that Green Day wanted the lyrics to be, very different, so simplistic, But even with simplistic lyrics, they should have tried something different and interesting than to make another record with the political and highly aggressive charged lyricism that they've done previously. But with lyrics like these on many of the tracks, feels really cheesy, derivative, and abysmal. Also, another thing that I would like to address is that it took these guys 4 years to make this album, and as I'm looking at it right now, they recorded this from June to September of 2019. I know they've been going through tons of works, schedules, and interviews from the era of Revolution Radio, but when Billy Joe described that this album is the new genre and that genre, etc., they could have adapted this music they've been writing, a bigger variety-fueled release, by showing a heavier presentation of these influences. But they just didn't do that very well, and it really lacks a lot of depth. Father of All, the verse part of Father of All immediately reminds me of Fire from Jimi Hendrix, to another song that it has like a similar rock and roll-ish kind of lick that kind of reminds me of Shattered by the Rolling Stones, and they wanted to try and make reminiscent and a revisiting touch to what they've done from the 2000s. To me, it does not work. So many of these tracks that try to have strong anthemic build-up, I feel that with this material, Green Day have not aged all that well. The more I thought about the album, makes the previous albums feel even more connecting and highly intriguing than what this album tried to do. They could have done something in a way that somehow think to themselves that this is good music. Overall, I think Father of All, horribly generic, terrible piece of some sort of effort that Green Day had put out. The way it was written, its execution to the songs falls flat on a lot of these faces, and with the music to be so subpar to terrible. They tried their very best, and if they think this is good to themselves, then fair play to the band. The rating that I'm going to give for this album is a 1 out of 10. The reason why it is a 1, a thing that I respect for, that's the only thing. But with this horribly mundane, awful, and cringeworthy fueled lyricism, poorest of the poorest approaches of material that Green Day had done in this record, totally lost me. That's really all I would like to say about Father of All by Green Day. And let me know what you think of this album in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.